Today we're going to be showing you how to diagnose a bad furnace board and to make sure your gas valve is opening properly.
First off, we're going to check to ensure that we have power to our furnace board.
Always get a meter out.
Yep. So I have our ground for our meter hooked up to our neutral bus, and I'm going to our line side with our positive meter probe. So that proves that we have voltage in. So we know we have our good 120 volts. So on our schematic, we have our board and all of our components. So our line in is down here, showing that our hot is hooked up to PR1 and our neutral is hooked up to the neutral bus.
It's very important to always find your schematic for your furnace. We cut this off of our furnace, but this is usually on the outside of your furnace. And look for the model number, and you can search that up, and you can get your whole booklet for your furnace off of that model number.
So the next thing we're going to do is we have a pilot light hooked up to our gas valve to show if it's triggering or not. So we are going to run our furnace. We have our thermostat set to heat. So we're going to go through our order of operations and see if our gas valve will open. And for that, we're going to use a manometer. So you can see our inlet pressure is 12.9 inches or 13 inches of water column. And then if the gas valve triggers, it will jump up on our opposite side. So we have our igniter, and we heard the click from our board that should open the gas valve, and our gas valve did not light. So next step is going to be, do we have voltage to our thermostat, or to our gas valve? So I'm going to hook up our meter probes to our neutral and our hot on our gas valve. Alright, so we're going to start our feeding sequence again and wait to see 24 volts to our gas valve. We're using a spade connector to be able to get our power in and be able to get a meter on our probe.
The spade connectors are a must when you're trying to work, and because you can't get the probe in there without the spade, it's really hard. So always use a spade just to get a good reading on your meter.
So you hear the click from our furnace board, and we're not getting any voltage. So that shows our gas valve isn't getting any power. So we're going to turn our thermostat off. We're going to check to see if we get any codes, which it should give us a code since our gas valve isn't working, which it is not. So let's try this again.
And your codes can be found also in your booklet. So troubleshooting, so on page 48 is where all of our codes would be.
So we did not get flame. And then there's our trouble code. So that was 34.
Right?
Yeah. So that light blinking proves that our trouble code is number 34. So if we go to page 48. So we are now on our code page. So up here it says LED codes. This gives us a list of all our codes, and we are getting code 34, ignition proving failure.
So all these are possibilities underneath of the code. So now we have to diagnose based on what the code tells us.
So we know we're not getting any voltage to our gas meter, so we're going to check if we got voltage at our board. So we traced our wires from our gas valve back to our board and found out that we had a bad crimp on our one wire. So we have since replaced that. And now I'm going to replace that onto our board.
Make sure it's on the right pin, which you can find
on our schematic. So we're going to ensure that our gas valve, which is up here, is blue, is hooked up to pin 10, and green and yellow is hooked up to pin 5, which we have confirmed on our board. And now we are going to run through our sequence, and we're going to use the manometer to see if our gas valve is fully opening. This is how we set up our manometer. So we went in through our 2 access ports. We pulled out the 2 plugs and put on these flared connectors, and then we just hooked up our tubing.
Alright, so our blower just stopped. It was on a 90-second timer, so we had to wait for that.
So now we're going to be watching our manometer while we go through the process of starting. And we're going to wait to see if our pilot light turns on, and our manometer should show about 3 inches of water column. So we have our igniter going.
Here's the light.
We got
our flame.
3 inches of water column. So that proves that our gas valve is now working, and we had a faulty crimp on our board.